Today I am going to be showing you how to make this cover that has a spot on the inside for your passport, also cards, and a pocket for money or whatever you want. It also has this clear portion for a vaccination card or whatever you want to use it for. The files will have both the version that you see in the video, which I hand sew, and it'll also have the version without the holes for you to sew through. In the video, I don't go through cutting the vinyl or pressing it on. I just found a file in Cricut Design Space that I like to put it on here to make it more personal. My main focus was actually how to make this out of leather and out of faux leather. I hope you love it. To need leather, I used a combination of the Cricut brand metallic, and I believe this is genuine leather, and I used a black genuine leather, and I also used a faux leather. You need vinyl. You're also going to need this clear plastic vinyl. You need a strong mat. You want to make sure that it is pretty clean, because when you're cutting, if it's not clean, your leather will lift and you will have to start all over. You want a weeding tool, scissors, brayer, and I just have the rotary tool for just in case. You want leather thread, a leather sewing needle, seam ripper, and an owl. All right, let's get this cut out. The very first thing you need to do is go ahead and open up Cricut Design Space. We are going to upload our file into Design Space and get it ready for cutting. So to create a new file or a new project, you go up here and you click on New Project. If you have multiple machines, you can click here and choose your machine and then go to New Project. You can also choose your machine here. I like to work with the grids off, so I'm going to go up here to the hamburger menu and down to Settings, and then Canvas, and turn it to no grid, and click on Done. So next we need to add our files into the Design Space canvas so that we can get them ready for cutting. So go over here to Upload, go to Upload Images, Browse, find the folder that the passport SVG is in, and go ahead and add it into your canvas. Once it's in here on the prepare to upload screen, you can change the name if you want. I've already named it passport. You can also put in tags here so that it's easier to find next time. Now click on upload, and that uploads it into your image folder. And go ahead and click on the file and click add to canvas. So at this point, everything is grouped together. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so you can see what's going on. And we're going to go up here to, I guess, these little squares with circles, and we're going to click on ungroup once. Now all of these are separate now. These two are our clear vinyl pieces, so you don't want to change the colors of those. But all of these, you can change their color so that they more closely resemble what you're cutting. I mean, you can cut each piece out with a different color of leather or faux leather, or you can cut them all the same color. So there's one more thing we need to do before this is ready to cut. We have these lines here, and even though they're grouped, if I were to click on Make It, where did it go? It wants to cut those lines all by themselves. And we don't want that. We need the line to stay where it is. So I'm going to cancel that, Hit cancel again, and we're going to go back to each piece that has a line and click on it to select it, and then go down here and click on attach. Do the same thing with the other three. And this is just your a luggage tag. So now that that is completely done, we're going to go over here to make it, and we're going to check all of our mats because sometimes Cricut places things in a way that it's wasteful of material. So I'm going to move some things around, and the way we do that is click on the three dots up here, go to move object, and you can either put it on a completely different mat or move it to a mat that you already have here. I'm going to move this one to this mat. Let's see if it's going to fit. And these two pieces, this one without any lines or cuts is going to be our back. This one here is our inside. So that looks pretty good for our mat. This one looks good. And you can see we saved a lot of area from the way Cricut wanted to cut it. So the next step is going to be to cut it. I showed you guys how to move your pieces around on the mats because Cricut wastes a lot of materials. Some of you only have 12 by 12 mats. Some of you may only be able to find 12 by 12 leather. I'm going to cut this on a 12 by 24. So I'm going to go ahead and change my mat size. And again, I'm still going to move things around because the way that Cricut lines things up sometimes wastes so much material. Now you see right now it had things all the way down to here. So when you're moving your things around, you want to make sure that nothing is overlapping, because if it is overlapping, it's going to cut through. And again, we save a ton of material. So from here you can go ahead and click on continue. Get everything cut out. You are going to cut this out on, you are going to cut your faux leather on the faux leather setting. And then if you have genuine vinyl, you're going to cut it on the genuine vinyl setting, and it's going to prompt you to use your deep cut blade. While this is working, I'm going to have you meet me over at my machine. The first one we did was genuine leather. We're going to get the second one ready to cut, and we're actually using faux leather. It's Cricut faux leather, and we're going to use our fabric strip mat. It doesn't have to be new, but it does have to be fairly clean. And you are going to put your leather, the shiny side down. Make sure you position it on here, and make sure you position it well, and make sure it's all flat and ready to go. So right now I have my deep point blade in there because that's what I needed to cut the genuine leather. I'm going to switch it out and put my fine point blade in there. To switch out your blades, you just open this B clamp, and that pops open. Pull it right out, and you put the next one right in, and then close it up. If you already have your fine point blade in your machine, you don't need to do anything as far as changing blades. But now let's load our material. With the Cricut Maker, the first thing it's going to do is measure my mat size to make sure that I have enough material to cut the project. I'm going to come back over here and change the pressure to more because I want to make sure that it cuts all the way through, and then go ahead and cut. Okay, so I have everything cut out, and the first thing you want to do, whether you use multiple colors or use all the same colors, is stack your pieces in the way that they're going to be sewn together. So that's what we're going to do first. So we have our pieces together. Also with the genuine leather, it's kind of hard to see the holes, so I'm using the owl to punch through on this side so that we can see the holes for when we get ready to sew. So you can go ahead and punch your holes. If you don't want to go through and punch the holes, then you can also just wing it. But it's easier if you go through and do it this way first. If you use faux leather, you don't have to punch holes. The Cricut does a lot better with the faux leather, getting our stitching holes in. So you'll go all the way around where you see the indentation of your holes. I switched things up just a little bit because I realized I had two of the same pieces on, but now I have all of my holes punched. I missed one in here. Let's get that one punched through. And we are going to start, this is the inside of the passport cover. So we're going to start sewing the inside. So choose your thread and just thread the needle, but do not pull it like all the way through. So first we're going to start sewing our inside pieces, and that includes our piece for our cards, which goes on the inside here, and we'll sew that piece on first, and then we'll come back and sew the piece for the money on. So you'll want to just start here. And you're going to go in one side, out the other, and then back in the same side. And you'll keep doing that all the way around. You don't want to pull too tight because you want it to stay pretty flat. You don't want any buckling. As you go across, this is what it'll look like. Just keep going all the way around. When you get to this middle part, you're going to go up and then back down. So we've reached the end of that one, and this is how it looks. So now we're going to go back through the same hole. So we're just connecting those stitches. Now you'll have a stitch all the way around the outside edge of your card holder. So next is this piece, and because of where I ended, I need to come back through a few stitches. So on this side, I'm gonna come through that first stitch on the other side, pull it through. So I needed to come back 2 stitches. But depending on where you leave off, you may not have to come back 2 stitches. So just continue around the edge of your pocket. Until you reach the other end, and then we're going to close this stitch off. So now that we are back where we started, we are going to take the seam ripper and not rip, but pull that first stitch back through here. And then pull the last stitch back through. And you're just gonna tie these a couple times in a knot. Cut off the excess. And now we have our first pieces together. So next we're going to sew this clear piece to the window. And it's basically the same process, except you are sewing the clear to the inner part of the, like you have 2 rows here. So the clear piece will go to the inner. Go through your plastic first and then through the leather. Now you're going to work your way around the same way we sewed these pieces. And with this piece, you're going to go all the way around and you're going to come back around again. Okay, so we have started placing the back side on. Before we get too far with that, we want to put a strap on it to hold the cover closed. So I like using these little hair tie things, and I'm just going to stretch it over and then cut it. If you want to measure it, it's about 9 inches. So this is going to get stuck right in here, and you want it just below the stitching. And you can use some clamps or some clips to hold that together while you sew. But you're going to drive your needle through your leathers. And then through your elastic. And then through the last leather. Straighten it out a bit and repeat. As you sew, it'll want to lift, so you want to make sure that you're straightening it out in between each stitch. And you're going to continue all the way around. This piece is in there. And when you get to this side, you're going to do the exact same thing. Put the elastic, make sure it's straight, but put the elastic just below the stitches and then sew it up. So I'm going to finish going all the way around here both times. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but you'll come all the way around. And then when you get here to this stitch, you're going to go backwards and go back around this way. And this is where you'll end. And I will come back and show you when we get to that spot. The last thing you're going to do is tie off your loose threads, and you'll just do it the same way I showed you before. And then you'll press on your design. And that's all you need to do to make a passport cover. And there's our passport cover. Here's the finished passport cover. The design is a very simple design. It's pretty easy to put together. The hardest part is actually the hand sewing. You will get a design that also has no holes. That way if you want to glue it, but the glue does not work well with the plastic cover. So on the tag, which I don't show in the video, you do have a slot for you to slide the paper in. Inside of your passport holder features the slot for your vaccination card or whatever, the spot for your passport, and then you have 2 card slots, and then you have this little pocket here where you could put money or more cards or whatever you want.